What's up, everyone? My name is Blue, and we are back with more malicious compliance posts, following the rules to make people look like fools. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to our channel. And with that, let's get into it. Sure, I'll pass the cheese. So I hope this doesn't violate the rules, but I'm gonna post it anyways. I am actually the victim of this malicious compliance, and I believe I have created a monster. For some backstory, my daughter, she's actually my stepdaughter, but she's my daughter nonetheless, is 11, who I'll call Princess, because that's my nickname for her. I've been with my wife for 6 years and married for 4 of those years. We get along great. She spends time with me in the woodshop, play video games together, and she is developing my sense of humor. My wife loves to point out she's the definition of nurture versus nature. So basically, I should have known something like this was coming. One of our little things started because I felt like messing with her about a year ago at the dinner table when she asked, "Can I have the ketchup, please?" I, of course, responded like every dad does. "I don't know, can you?" This goes on and off, being changed up with different pedantic variations such as, "Sure, you can see it," and, "I mean, I could, but the question is, will I?" She also would get me with these as well, much to my wife and hers delight. Now, I do sprinkle in some actual parenting with this about teaching her how important it is to use words to convey your intent properly, but it's mostly just good old-fashioned fun between father and daughter. This is all picked up with a fever this week, where we each got each other multiple times during dinner 3 nights in a row, until she ended it last night with the sweetest compliance I've seen in a while. We were having tacos, and without thinking, I asked her, "Sweetie, could you please pass me the cheese?" Without missing a beat. She grabs the cheese and throws it right at me. I wasn't expecting it, and it smacks me right in the face. My wife and I just sit there staring at her, mouths agape, and all she says is, "You told me to pass the cheese." Through the laughter and mild humiliation, I have never been more proud. I mean, dad jokes aside, this story is a little cheesy. Yeah, did I cross a line? Alright, I'll leave. Wherever the statue goes, I must go? Sure thing. I have worked and collaborated some years with the police in my city, Valencia, Spain. And to this day, they still tell the tale of the funniest malicious compliance that was done by 2 officers in the late 80s, early 90s. There was a festivity where a statue was walked in a procession through the city center and ending in the port of Valencia, putting it in a ship in order to transport it to its original place. 2 police officers were entrusted with escorting the statue with their motorbikes. The inspector who ordered it was said to be rude and said something in the lines of, "You better be glued to the statue. Wherever it goes, you two go with it." The service seemingly went okay for the police officers, but after some days, the police department received a call from the Port Authority informing that there were 2 police motorbikes parked several days inside the port. That was when the inspector realized what had happened. Cue the malicious compliance. As you may already have guessed, the police officers went inside the boat together with the statue. This statue belonged to a cathedral located in Ibiza, 110 kilometers from Valencia, and they spent some days in the Isle enjoying themselves before going back to Valencia. When the superiors finally contacted them and ordered them to come back, they did what they were told, and decades later, their colleagues that are still working in Spain, local police can work until 65 years, still remember this tale as one of the funniest moments they have ever lived inside the police department. I mean, the officers went where the statue went. I see nothing wrong. If the statue gets to go on vacation to a nice little place, then so do the officers. Win-win. If you absolutely insist that I have to move the pallet immediately, then move it I will. I'm a retail merchandiser. I assist with refits and new store setups, or sometimes just get sent to be an extra pair of hands where a store has too many people off sick or on holiday. And even during refits, we're sometimes expected to work the delivery for the aisles that we've been rearranging that night, as the store's own staff have, for obvious reasons, been unable to access them all night. On this particular shift, we'd been doing the beers, wines, and spirits section. Now, this is the sort of shift where you're practically guaranteed to get some wastage. Bottles smash, cans split. It's just accepted as the price of moving literally hundreds of them in the course of a single night. All you can is hope you're not the one who goes home smelling like a brewery. We'd finished up the actual move and had started working the 6 pallets of delivery as well, but the store manager was fretting. He was starting to get very antsy about our chances of finishing up and clearing the floor before the store opened for the day. And his main concern was about how we were handling the overstocks. We had absolutely blitzed the first pallet, all hands working it and it alone in order to empty it so we could stack the overstocks onto it. As soon as the last case of booze was removed from the blue boards, we moved the overstocks onto it and then split up to work the other 5 pallets simultaneously. As we worked, we added more to the first pallet. When we're in luck, we can get the overstocks from 6 pallets of delivery onto a single pallet. By the time the manager came around, dragging a pump truck with him, the stack was about 4 boxes high, about hip height on me. It wasn't the prettiest pallet stack you've ever seen, but it was stable, while it wasn't moving. Someone had gone to fetch a roll of pallet wrap so we could move it safely, but that's the sort of thing that store staff tend to hide and guard jealously, so we knew he'd be gone a while. Manager: "What's this pallet?" Someone: "Delivery overs." Manager: "It needs to be off the floor." Someone else: "Coworker has gone to get the shrink." Manager: "I want it gone now." Team leader: "It's not safe to move without wrap." Manager: "You don't need that if it's stacked properly. Move it now." At that point, he shoved the handle of the pump truck at the closest person, which was me. And he stood back to make sure that we removed the pallet from the shop floor. Now, I'm not the best pump truck operator in the world. I have a lack of proprioception that extends to anything that I'm pushing, pulling, carrying, or steering. Normally, I wouldn't go anywhere near a pallet of glass bottles, but everyone else backed away. They knew what would happen if anyone jacked that pallet up and tried to move it, and they wanted no part of it. The manager obviously wanted it moving though, and it was his store. So, I carefully got the forks under the pallet. No ramming it in for this baby. Gently lifted it off the floor and started moving as smoothly as I could. 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps. Enter the slalom of bakery tables and fridges between alcohol and warehouse. I surprised myself by getting past the individual rolls table without incident, but when I started to maneuver around the cream cakes fridge, I heard the unmistakable sound of bottles smashing. I looked behind me to confirm it. A corner of the pallet had decided to acquaint itself with the linoleum-covered concrete floor. Wine, whiskey, vodka, and rum were all mixed in a spreading puddle on the floor, Oh, and on the manager who'd been following behind, presumably wanting his pump truck back once the pallet was stowed away, who hadn't bothered to try and stabilize the collapsing boxes. My team leader had also been following, at a more sensible distance. Team leader. Looks like it needed wrapping. Why is it every time a manager wants something done like, right now, get it done yesterday, kind of stuff, it always blows up in their face? Like, how much longer would it have taken? 5-10 minutes for that dude to come back with the pallet wrap? Calm down, boss man. It'll get done. And that's all the time we have for today for these malicious compliance posts. If you liked any of the stories, give us a like on the video, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any more stories. Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch you later.